Oh man, welcome to Sharp or Square presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the betting show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman. I am joined by my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, how we doing?
Dude, last weekend was insane, and you expressed very little enthusiasm and joy for the ways in which we ended up 3-2 on the day. We ended up 3-2 on the day again today with wackiness, with insanity, with miracles. We're going to get to that. I want to know if you're feeling before, just give me a yes or no answer. And if you're feeling good, make me feel it. Are you feeling good?
Yes.
I felt that enthusiasm, dude. It was a terrible start for all of our games in the early window. The Eagles blocked a Bucs punt after the first drive, scored a touchdown. Jaxson Dart just slices right through the Chargers D, scores a touchdown on his first drive. The Browns look competent. Joe Flacco goes 5 for 5 on his first drive. First time all season. They score after 4 tries from the goal line. I think it would have been a lot to ask to have miracle comebacks in the early window the way we did last week, and we didn't. But in the afternoon, my brother, hello Rams, hello Raiders. God, football is ridiculously fun.
Yeah, I feel like for the 1 p.m.s, we got punished for doing something we shouldn't have done, which was take the Chargers. And with the Bucks, that's them the breaks. Like everything kept going wrong, and you kept being sucked back in, being like, they're going to score, they're just not getting the 2-point. Whatever it was, I think everyone thought they were going to get that touchdown with all the momentum they had and the way the game was going with the Eagles. So you're right, brother. The 1-2 start's always brutal because we know we have to go 2-0, and there's no room for error. And it didn't help that the Chiefs were absolutely beating the crap out of the Ravens, and it's like I'm going to be owning this one with the fans of the show because I was pounding the table all week for that Chiefs team, and yeah, taking them out for the Rams was looking like a really, really dumb move. So yeah, 3-2, like we say in the NFL, 60% any week you can quit your day job. You've done it, so I'll take it. Anytime we can go 3-2, it's a grind to get there, but yeah, building back-to-back 3-2 weeks. What are we at? 12-8 now. That's
3-2 on the year, or 3-2 on the week. 12-8 on the year. We're gonna go over all the games. You should be, if you're watching this on YouTube, seeing the graphic right now. 12-8 on the year. Another eking out a 3-2 week. Let's get into it. All right. This is on me. Chargers. I talked about them all week. I should have walked away from it on Tuesday when they brought in Jaxson Dart as the starter. The Giants did, because everything that we said were the Achilles heel of the Chargers, potentially with Jaxson Dart and on the field already with the Giants pass rush, is what happened. Like, Jaxson Dart, his running ability was the difference in the game multiple times on 3rd down, 4th down, that touchdown run. And the Giants pass rush just destroyed the Chargers. Their offensive line was decimated. Joe Alt went out early in the game. They could never get Justin Herbert into any rhythm. It was a dreadful watch. It was excruciating. I was so annoyed with myself. I wanted to blame you, but I couldn't because it was all my fault.
That's nice. Yeah, it was a bad bet, bad pick in the sense we knew what we were doing was wrong, and yeah, that's the second time this year we made a bet on a chalk favorite that we knew was just a bad spot. And yeah, looking at the game, it just from the get go everything was going wrong. Like Ladd had a bad drop, like you said.
Couple bad drops early.
Yeah, Giants drove the field, which they shouldn't be doing against that Chargers defense. I know it's tough when the rookie comes in, you know what he's going to do, but he also made some big-time throws in that game. And Herbert, he missed some throws that obviously he wished he could get back. And like you said, it was just a bad spot for them. So It was brutal. I was hate watching at the very end where it's like, I didn't even want them to tie it. I was just like, I just want you guys to lose so people get knocked out of survivor pools now. Because it's like, there was no way we were going to cover that. There was never going to be a way for them to get that cover, even in my wildest dreams. So, yeah, bad bet. Obviously, brutal start the day with that one.
No. In my wildest dreams, we were going to get the cover. When it was 21-18, they were going to get the field goal. They were going to win the toss. They were going to drive down. They were going to score a touchdown. They were going to kick the extra point. Then they were going to hold the Giants. And then we were going to get the cover. None of that happened.
No.
Instead, it is interesting to me. We're going to talk about next week the Giants play the Saints. They're 2-point favorites on the road in New Orleans. And I'm really curious to talk about that game. You say Jaxson Dart made some throws. I thought he was a rookie quarterback generally. Like, he did what he was comfortable doing, which is run the ball. He was pretty pedestrian as a passer, so it'll be interesting next week. Now that there is a week, Malik Neighbors, unfortunately, likely has a torn ACL, is out for the year. So it'll be interesting how they line up as a favorite on the road with a week of tape when everyone is now aware he's not that comfortable passing and he's going to be using his legs aggressively.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice right now because you were so on your table last week with your Herbert cockiness, being like, I knew this guy was great. This guy wins in September. This guy, and he just got outplayed by Jaxson Dart. So I'm gonna be nice because I'm happy to be 3-2. But if we were sitting here 2-3, I would be much meaner about your love for Herbert. But time will tell. We'll see. He, like you said, Joe Alt went out. He was in a bad spot. His receivers are dropping the ball. I still can't believe they lost that game. And I think it was 4 or 5% of our survivor pool was on the Chargers, which I get. Brutal to get knocked out that way.
Not us, buddy. Not us.
Not us.
Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. All right, we had the Bucs plus 3.5. We were getting the number. That early pump block for the touchdown was rough. And then, they had an easy drive down the field, the Eagles did, to go up 14-0 in the first quarter. The Bucs were just an absolute mess to start the game. They down penalty. They were down 14. They had a penalty on a Cooper DeJean pick. They got lucky. Baker ended up fumbling, had to recover his own fumble to salvage a field goal. Chase McLaughlin was the hero of this game, a 65-yard bomb to make it 24-6. When they went into halftime, the note that I said to myself, you still never feel like you're out of it with Baker. And the fact that it was going into the middle of the fourth, the Bucs are driving, and it's 31-23 after multiple Baker miracle throws, one to Bucky Irving, who had just fumbled to give the Eagles that extended lead. He's fun to watch. Even though we lost with him, he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
You get what you bet. You get what you bet when you bet with Baker.
Yeah, and bad bet by me, bad read. And, back-to-back weeks, Simon says, being really bad reads on numbers that feel good, feels you're getting a good number. And the quarterback, end of the day, he does something to disappoint. And Baker, he put us in positions to win. That end zone pick, though, inexcusable. But like you said at the top, it felt like we lost as soon as they blocked at that point, where it's like, that's 7. To get that back at some point is going to be hard. And they just couldn't close it, right? I think it did. It was 8 points. I know they ran it back and ended up being whatever it was, 5 or 6 points the game finished at. But that cover was there that whole time because there was just such a momentum shift. And what we predicted was true, right? They just, like you said, that the Eagles are a very dominant offense in the sense that if they can get it rolling like they did in that first half and you make stupid mistakes, it's a championship football. They're going to put touchdowns up on the scoreboard. And, again, though, they got out of sync. All the momentum had flipped. And, I got sucked back in. I'm not going to lie. I thought Baker was going to get us there. So, awful no cover. And, like you said, terrible way to start that 0-2 to the 1 p.m.s.
Just brutal. Also interesting. Tampa Bay on the road at Seattle next week.
How about it?
2.5-point underdogs. Vita Vea, dominant in the run game
so
today
good.
against the Eagles. At some point, the Eagles were averaging about 2 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And this was late in the game when they were trying to grind out the clock. We know the Seahawks love to be a dominant rushing team. We know what happened to them in the final 10 minutes of that game against the Cardinals. Could the Bucs be an interesting pick? Could they be an early lean going cross country as a road dog next week? I don't know. All right, can we get to the one? I feel like if you're going to blame me for the Chargers, I should get some credit for the Lions because I was on this from the very beginning. I liked it at 8.5. I liked it at 9. I kept saying this was our brass balls. Like, even though the Browns went down the field early, even though Jared Goff threw a pick in the middle of the third, I think, and I'm like, you really can't make mistakes and win a bet as a 10-point favorite. Yet, they cruised. Totally cruised.
They didn't. Like you said, it was a little scary there at first, but thanks to Joe Flacco, we truly had no worries at the end of the day. And
he's so terrible.
He is very bad. And he bailed us out because there was parts there where their defense were getting stops. And I think at one point, maybe the Lions offense only had 100 yards, but like you said, they were up 20-10 or whatever it was. And it was like, well, it doesn't really matter if they keep getting short fields and it's just a field position game. They're going to win this battle. Like, they have the better unit. And then whatever that was, a punt or a kick return. Once we got that, it was like, okay, we're gonna cover this number. So yeah, like we always talk about the trends, they're really favorable to this Lions team when they win big, coming off big wins. And the truth was that Cleveland defense, they are very dominant in how great they are. But in an indoor setting like that, that's going to be a track meet, and eventually the offense will come through. We saw the Browns just couldn't keep up offensively. So yeah, good read, great number. Those are always the scary games because when you take those big numbers like we don't like doing, you can see why people took the dog and how it can get there because there's just so many points in the NFL like we saw with that Saints and Bills game. It's just if you just have a little bit of an off day, they can cover you because it's just these guys are pros too, and that's a huge number. So, yeah, even though Goff didn't have his best day, it's just a really talented team, the Lions. Even, all the guys that kept getting hurt on their defense, they still held up really well throughout the game. So, yeah, props to that Lions team. After that week one, plenty of us were leaving them for dead, saying they weren't going to make the playoffs. And now here we are through 4 weeks, and they're looking like the same old Lions, one of the best teams in offenses in football that no one wants to go and play inside.
Yeah, the run back by Khalif Raymond, punt return with about 13:40 left, put them up 17, right? They were up 20-10. That changed the calculus, and Joe Flacco really couldn't do anything after that. He's just so, it must be, I've said this before, it's just tragic for this Browns defense. Because while last year they were a bet them at home, bet against them on the road team, last year they were also giving up 30, 40 points on the road. This year, at least in this game, they were much better on the road, on a fast track. It's just like if Joe Flacco is going to be your quarterback and he cannot get out of the pocket, he cannot move in the pocket. He was a sitting duck the entire game. I'm really curious if Dylan Gabriel is going to start getting more time. He came in at the end of the game. Next week, they're playing Minnesota in London. I don't know if that's going to be a game where you want to start a rookie in his first game.
No, they did him dirty. As soon as he came in the game, they put up a chart of him being 5'11". It's like,
yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, I know.
That's dirty.
That was just nasty.
Yeah.
One thing to think about, because now everyone's going to be thinking about the Lions. Terry and Arnold, cornerback who is a guaranteed illegal contact or pass interference every game, left the game, and DJ Reed left the game on a cart. So there could be some defensive injury issues already. Are you ready to talk about the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams? We had the Rams minus 3.5. And if we go back to the morning, the last conversation we had was, this is the last game in. Do we want the Chiefs? Do we want the Rams? I was leaning Rams. You said you wanted Rams. I didn't want you to talk me out of the Rams. I didn't want to have to talk you out of the Chiefs. So we collectively landed on the Rams. There was no separation between us. And I will tell you, that whole time I was watching that Chiefs game, I'm like, we're the fucking worst.
Yeah, it's just tough. Again, I'm in a position where I have a ton of money on the line with these certain games. So in that scenario, I had a lot more money, I guess, on the Chiefs, but I felt more confident in playing that number. But in our pick contest, I felt more confident in the spot for the Rams going against Daniel Jones, which was due to have a bad game, and their offense was due to regress. And he tried throwing picks early there, and they were dropping them. And it's like, it just was not going the Rams' way. And like you said, we were both killing ourselves because that Chiefs, that's why I was banging the table. That's just a spot where it's a Super Bowl pedigree team that's very well coached playing against a team that is just simply banged up that they were, like the Ravens. So this Rams team, I'm glad it came through for us. We both on the same page. This one felt like we stole this one even more so than that Eagles last week, where the team, the fumble out the back of the end zone, and Stafford having what it felt like 4 straight 3-and-outs. Like we're totally out of sync, and the Colts did outplay them in many ways. So once again, it's about trusting the number. Doesn't matter what happens. It's all about the number and the situation. And that Colts side was just getting hammered all week, and that number never budged. And it's very telling when the book does that. And because, again, it's smart money on the Rams side. And, of course, they covered. I can't believe it. Like, you're in the same boat as me. I thought for sure it would just be a field goal to win it. Never did I think they would get the, 2 safeties playing up and letting them get a free runner down the sideline. So, Tutu Atwell, we thank you for the cover. Huge monster. We needed it to go 3-2.
Well, look, it wasn't just 2 safeties playing up. The Colts only had 10 defenders on the field for that play.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So they picked each other off, and they only had 10 defenders on the field. So it was a stunning way to get a cover. I will say, I kind of thought when they got the ball, they were going to break one, because I did think that the Colts were going to be playing up on the line and be a little bit aggressive. So in my head, I'm like, I don't know, maybe we'll steal one here. Yeah. And we totally did. Poor Adonai Mitchell. That's the reason they lost that game. Look, the guy had a great catch down the sideline, fought through defenders to get the catch, running for the touchdown. The ball slips out of his hand literally inches before he crosses the goal line, out of the back of the end zone, a touchback for the Rams. That takes 7 points off the board for the Colts. And then later in the game, the Colts are driving. Jonathan Taylor does what he does. He breaks one down the field, breaks a bunch of tackles, scores on a long touchdown run, called back because Adonai Mitchell was called for holding. That's Adonai Mitchell costing his team 14 points. That is and then on that drive, the Colts ended up getting sacked, having a fumble. It was covered by them, but they had to punt. They knocked themselves out of field goal range. So that was sort of a game-saving drive and a game-saving penalty by Adonai Mitchell. I guess I'm curious, do we think the Colts are as good as they were? Do we think that the Rams are elite? I thought this game would determine something for us. I don't know that it did.
No, I don't think football works that way. It's just one game, one scenario, and I view it as respect to the Colts. To me, the Colts, that was a spot they're most likely going to get rolled. And I'd be excited if I was a Colts fan, because Daniel Jones, even on an off day like he was today, he's going to keep pushing the ball downfield. And that offensive scheme and how they use Tyler Warren and the different pieces, it's just a fun offense right now. And, like you just said, when they have a running back that can produce like they do right now, it's a really good offense in that Colts team. So I'd be excited if I was a Colts fan for the Rams. You're right, there's probably things we could question about them, like Stafford would being inconsistent, but everything I saw from them today, it's just they're going to be a really tough team to beat all year if Stafford's healthy. That defense, that front seven, really good, really well coached. And Yeah, the Puka Adams with Williams, the running back, that combo is just one of the best in all football. So, yeah, as the Rams, like you said, we feel like we got lucky. They definitely got lucky to win that one, but they were probably owed by the football gods from the week before. So,
A little
it's a
bit, right?
nice seesaw play by us on that one.
Yeah, I think my point about the Colts is they should have gotten rolled in this game. And there were times when it looked like they could have, but their defense was great. And really, other than that last play, controlled the game and was in Stafford's grill, made really good plays. They kept them from converting first downs. So I was just impressed that they didn't sort of get rolled in that game. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, maybe they are more competitive than we might have thought they were going to be.
No, they feel like division 7th seed. That's still on the table for me for this Colts team. They got the guys to do it. If they can stay healthy, I think, with Jonathan Taylor running like he is, I don't know. They're going to be a tough out every week, and it's, as a Colts fan, you haven't had that. And I guess Philip Rivers, but even going back, it's probably Andrew Luck, truly. But I know if Rivers got to them to the playoffs, but this is a different team than prior Colts teams, that's for sure.
Yep. All right. Last game, the one that put us over the edge, 3-2. Boy, neither team really wanted to win this game, to be honest. I mean, they were dreadful. The Raiders had 4 turnovers. Geno had 3 picks. The Bears could not convert on any of the turnovers. Like, I think it was 14-9 at halftime with 2 ugly touchdowns for the Raiders and 3 field goals for the Bears. Like, I think you nailed it early in the week when we were leaning Raiders as 1.5-point underdogs. The pressure on Caleb was going to be insane, and he had multiple tipped passes, including one, Max Crosby, who had 3 tipped passes in the first quarter, tipped one to himself and intercepted it himself. This was not a game you watch unless you have a bet on it.
What? I'm the other way. This is what I dream about in May. These are my favorite type of games between 2 gross teams, but with offenses that can move the ball because it's exciting teams. Like, I thought coming in, this was going to be their get right for Genti. And, they should have destroyed this Bears team. If they just would have just relied on the running game. The guy is averaging 6.6 yards per carry, Genti. He finished with 138 rushing yards. It's insane that this was a close game, but it was close because Geno Smith, like you said, he threw 3 really bad picks. And Caleb, who did struggle, didn't turn it over. And we've seen in football, it's just it's the biggest thing, obviously, behind taking 7s for 3s. Like, if you kick field goals like the Bears were doing, usually you don't deserve to steal these type of games. But, again, Geno threw 3 picks. I think he's by far leading the league with picks this season. He's just holding this Raiders team back because, like you said, their defense played well enough to win. Genti played well enough to win without well he was running. It's all about Geno. Throwing for 117 against the banged-up Bears secondary like they are. Awful picks, too. Like, terrible reads like he didn't see the guys.
Yep.
I feel very fortunate that we got the cover. I feel sick for people that I also bet the -1.5 on the Raiders, and they had the opportunity there, right? They had the lead at the end of the game just to get a stop. But Caleb Williams, big time, step up, drove the field, got the touchdown. Thank you, Caleb. Did not get the 2-pointer. We get the cover, the 3-2 week. So definitely needed it.
Yeah, when they kicked that field goal, the Raiders, to go up 24-19, I in my notes I wrote, I don't love they're kicking a field goal to go up 5, and it's going to be a furious sort of final 5-minute drill for the Bears, and that's exactly what happened. Like, they did exactly what we all expected them to do. I didn't even consider that they were going to go for the 2-point conversion to go up 3. So I'm glad I didn't do the math on that. And I was only thinking they're automatically going to go up 2 and we're screwed. Fantastic. I just want to detail how pathetic the Raiders offensive line was early in the game. Before Ashton Genti went off, he had, like you said, 138 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 64 yards, 3 touchdowns today, 2 receiving touchdowns. At one point in the game, the Raiders tried to convert a 3rd and 1, couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. They went 4th and 1 at their own 30. They were stopped in the backfield and fumbled the ball. Like, this O-line is is really a problem for them. It
really is. Like what we said in this game, I knew the deal. It's just two bad teams who could outlast or survive the other one. And classic case of the best of the number, which makes me sick again because there's people out there, they took the Raiders plus 1.5, then they took the Bears plus 1.5, and they hit that number. And it's like, how do they do it? It's crazy.
I know. It's amazing. All right, we're going to take a quick break with our friends from Hard Rock. We're going to come back and we're going to take comments from the people in the chat. We're going to talk, finalize our record from the weekend on all of our bets. We're going to talk about our early leans, so much more. We'll be back in a second. Today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Week 4 closes out Monday with a doubleheader, New York versus Miami and Cincinnati versus Denver. This is where the sharps separate from the squares. Let's check out more streaks from Hard Rock Bet's Stats Hub for tomorrow night's game. You can find live odds to bet on all these streaks in the Hard Rock Bet app. Miami has won 9 in a row against New York at Hard Rock Stadium. And Devin Achane has scored a touchdown in 6 straight home games. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but $150 in extra bonus bets. There's new promos every day, so if you're listening to this later, just open the app and check out what you've got any day of the week. All right, so our last one in was the Rams. Our last one out was the Chiefs. We got the record that we deserved. Simon says was Bucks plus 3.5. Chad loved the Chargers -6. Brass Balls was Lions -9. Good for us. Rockin' a Hard Place was the Chiefs. Good for us. Sharp versus Square. I had the Niners -3. The chat would really like to have a conversation about the Niners. We're going to do that. You had the Rams -3.5. Our favorites parlay, Bills, Lions, Chargers, Rams, and Broncos. 1 game to go. So hopefully people will win a little money on that. Our underdog parlay, Chiefs, Bucks, Atlanta, Panthers, Raiders. So not as much success on that one. Before we get to the early leans, so in the chat, a lot of people asking questions about the Raiders. And like, are they bad? Are the Jags legit? Which do we think is the likelier scenario? And I would credit that to anybody in the chat, but that's literally what the entire chat is talking about. Brock Purdy, at one point, he just threw the ball directly to a Jacksonville Jaguar. Like, they did not look good today. And the Jags, at one point, Trevor Lawrence in the second half for, say, 25 minutes of the second half, looked like the Trevor Lawrence that we never want to bet on. What do we think of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now?
Playing well. Like defensively, a lot of the stuff they're doing too offensively, the way they're running the ball, and their only real weakness, I think you just nailed it, is Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. There's something off about him. Or I guess, Brian Thomas Jr. is a problem too, but he played
better today.
He did. He also had some drops that are very questionable. I thought Travis Hunter actually had a really good game. But, yeah, that Purdy throw, I know exactly what they're talking about. It was terrible. But it just felt like a guy trying to do too much. I don't take too much away from it. It's their first loss of the year. We've talked about they've been very fortunate. I thought in this game they would get right against this Jaguars team. But, something's just off for this 49ers team. On the flip side, huge win for the Jaguars, right? That's a big deal. Go across country, win that type of game against an undefeated team. And, Trevor, I think he had like a really bad pick that got called away because of a penalty. And overall, he just, as bad as he did play, he didn't put him in positions to lose, which Purdy did a few times. So I try not to overreact, but I'm definitely a little worried about this 49ers team with all the injuries they've had and what that means to them going forward. So I'm going to dive into watch the tape on that game because I honestly didn't have it on because we didn't really bet it or have it in our contest. I was on the 49ers, but not like compared to obviously that Chiefs or that Rams game. So, that was a game I didn't watch much of, but it felt like every time they did pop in, It was just Purdy turning the ball over, but they had a chance at the end, right? If he would have drove that field, they could have won the game. But
Yeah.
it just wasn't a good game from Purdy.
If we were to look at the NFL right now, as gamblers, which teams do we think look totally dead right now? I think there's one that immediately comes to mind.
I mean, there's only one. It's Tennessee.
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that's the only team.
Tennessee Titans in the Brian Callahan era, which now goes a season and 4 games. So that's 22 games. I think they are 3-19 against the spread, including, 2-16 last year. 2-15 last year, and now so it's 3-18. I can't even do the math. They're 1-3 this year. So he's a terrible coach. They're a terrible team. Even though the Texans could only score 6 points in the early part of this game, they still couldn't do anything to make it a competitive game.
Yeah, we obviously have many blind spots. The Tennessee Titans are our biggest blind spot. I can guarantee if I go back through our picks, we probably have taken them more times than we've bet against them in our contest over that 2-year span. And it makes me hate it. I want to blame you, Chad, because I wish you were more Joe Public, because I could see if I just had some Joe Public guy, he would be what a lot of people are, which is just every week firing away against this Tennessee team as long as Callahan's the head coach. And they're winning. They've been winning for 2 years, and we keep overthinking it and not playing against them in our contest every week because the number's too big, whatever it may be. And I hate it because I know as soon as we start jumping on the train, it'll go the other way. But at what point do we just have to bite the bullet and do it? It's insane. Like, that was a non-competitive game. The Houston didn't even play that well, and they were settling for field goals. I think it was 6-0, and they're just lackluster and just. The offense of Tennessee can get nothing going. And eventually their defense just gives up, right? They're exhausted, probably. Yeah. So, terrible, terrible team. Thank God we took Houston and Survivor, because there was a minute there where they're up, 20 or 26-0, and the Bills are potentially about to be losing. The Chargers were kind of losing. It was like, oh, my God, this is going to be that day. And me and Chad somehow dodged it. We're usually the suckers that were going to be on the Bills. Nope, didn't matter. Bills still came through. So for Survivor, I hope everyone followed that Houston one. I'm glad I got them done because, like we said, their offense, Tennessee gave that game away. I still do not trust them and CJ with that offense. But, man, is Tennessee by far the worst team in football.
Tennessee, by the way, if we're interested, we'll go through this in 1 second. Tennessee, 8.5-point underdog at Arizona this week. So we do have a chance to bet against Tennessee this week. But one thing I want to review, September is now over in the NFL. We're through 4 weeks. Who do you think looks like the best team in the NFL? To me, it's fairly obvious who I think the best team is in the NFL. I will say it first because that way you don't have to be accused of being a homer. But how are the Eagles not the best team in the NFL right now?
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I mean, like we said, it's a week-to-week league, but for the start of what their schedule was to what they've accomplished with all the superlatives and, coming off the Super Bowl to be 4-0, I guess it is harder to argue against them, but it's tough trying to think who would be the number 2 team. To me, that's the real debate because every team right now has their warts. And like I said, that's through 4 weeks, these are very incomplete teams. These teams are just trying to figure it out as they go here. But you could make the argument that the Rams, you could put them at number 2. Like, the only team they've lost to is this Eagles team. And, they have had a pretty hard schedule themselves, and they've performed well. Like, that Colts game, a lot of teams would have turned on it because it was not going right their way, and they stuck in it. So, yeah, I'm kind of interested in your take on it because the AFC, everyone's going to go with the Bills. But, let's be honest. If their defense is still what it is right now in January, we've seen this movie with Josh Allen before. He can only do so much.
Right.
He needs guys back there. So that's what, if people want to put them two, I get it. I can't get over how bad their defense is with all the injuries. I just feel so bad for Josh. He's just so good. He should be the best team. He should be number one over the Eagles, but they're just not, because the Eagles are, unlike them, the Eagles are healthy right now.
I think the other team that I was going to mention, leaving the Bills out of it, because I think their defense just probably isn't good enough to say they're the best, and the teams they've beaten compared to who the Eagles have beaten. You said the team earlier, the Lions. Like, they've been rolling, and they look exactly the same as they have the past couple of years when they've been one of the best teams in the NFL. Their running game has been incredibly powerful. Today, they outscored the best defense in the NFL and made them look like not a very good defense at the end of the game. They beat up on the Bears, whose offense against other teams has been doing really well. They lost to the Packers. The Packers have been incredibly competitive. They lost in their first game without their two coordinators. It was almost like it was set up for them to lose. Like, they're a really good team right now. Would you rather bet on if you had a Lions-Rams game on a neutral field, who are you taking?
And it's January. I'm taking the Rams.
Really?
Yeah. Again, it's Goff, man. I respect him, but he just sometimes in big moments he does not live up to the moment. So that's my issue with him. I agree with you. Tons of talent, really good team still. That's fair. Put them up there in the top 3, top 4 teams in football right now, but I still have questions about Goff.
So if we're power rating it right now, we'd probably have Eagles, Rams/Lions, Lions/Rams, and then the Buffalo Bills.
And then Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs look pretty good if they can get their weapons together. And their defense today was totally ridiculous.
If you saw the difference having Worthy just stretches the field in a way that there's no other player on their team that can do that for them. So,
but also their running game was better. Like, everyone played with a little more pep today.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some early leans. I brought up 2 games. I don't know that I have any strong opinions yet on any of the games for next week, but I do think it's interesting that the New York Giants are 2-point favorites over the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Jaxson Dart going on the road, and after beating up on the Chargers at home, he's now going to be in a spot where he's a favorite on the road, and he still hasn't proven that he's someone who you can rely on to convert with his arm.
Yeah, that Saints feel like a no-brainer, taking the +2.5.
Right?
Hoping they can get the +3.
It's already moved from 2 to 2.5, so that would be amazing if it keeps moving that way.
+3. The view of it from the general public is going to be Spencer Rattler is a loser. He never wins. He will find a way to lose. Jaxson Dart is 1-0. He looks like a kid that can find a way to win. I get it. I see why the books are making them the favorite here. To me, it's going to be about the number. 3.5, 2.5. I'm a Saints backer. If this number does drop below 2, I'm happy to totally ignore this game this upcoming week.
KC is visiting Jacksonville. We just said Kansas City could be a top 5 team in the NFL now. Jacksonville is a 2.5-point underdog at home. I will say this defense has been incredibly impressive, and the pressure this defense has been getting consistently week in and week out is honestly what's been keeping them in the games and helping them get to the record that they have, much more than Trevor Lawrence. Are we getting on the wagon and fading Patrick Mahomes now?
It's all about the number. It really is. Like, there's some books out there that open this at 3.5, Chad. So you were able to get the Jacks +3.5, which I think was probably a really favorable number for them and the position they're in for this matchup. But we'll see. We'll see what it reopens right now, because I'm looking right now. All these books have taken it down for the most part. So that shows that early money came in pretty heavy on the Jaguars for them to take this number down. So yeah, 2.5. I could be a Chiefs guy. That feels like a Chiefs number here. So I'll be patient. See what the public does with that. I have no bets on that game yet, though.
Do we even want to tempt ourselves with Tennessee as an 8.5-point road underdog against Arizona? And we're just like, screw it. We're taking the Cardinals.
We might have to, but no. I mean, that's what sucks about this Tennessee team. Obviously, this is a great number. This is a great line for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Against Kyler Murray, we talk all the time. Kyler is a favorite. He blows this game, but even how bad the Cardinals defense is, I don't know how Tennessee scores and moves the ball consistently. They're just so bad. So, yeah, I'm trying to join our public friends. I'm leaning towards the Cardinals, even though they're attempting me, trying to suck me on this Tennessee line, but I won't do it. Give me a 10, and then we'll talk sports books.
By the way, Jacksonville, the lines are moving. Jacksonville is at 3. I'm seeing right now. And New Orleans is at 2.5. So we're seeing where the money is coming. The money is coming in Kansas City. The money is coming in on Jaxson Dart right now. What games am I missing from your very, very tired, exhausted, ready to crash on your mattress full of Kansas City Chiefs and Los Angeles Rams cash?
Just games I'll grab way too early. And it's people that are listening to this, you can be more patient because I think these lines might go against us. Chad already talked about the Bucks. They're +2.5, +3 against the Seahawks. That's going to be a Bucks line. I know it's painful to go back to them after what just happened, but that Seahawks team, as good as they are, I don't know if they deserve that much respect yet against the Bucks team that has proven it, and they have shown they are consistent. So I'm going to join you on that one. I thought that was a number that jumped out right away, and pretty easy off the bat. I've talked about that Colts team. I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I like the hype. I am almost positive after Geno threw another 3 picks, my model is going to make this 7, 7.5. It's 6, 5.5 right now, Colts.
It's moving. It's now 6.5.
Grab it. Like,
yeah.
As soon as we came on this call, because me and Chad were watching that Raiders game live, I was just hammering the Colts 5.5 and 6 and was hoping that's what it would be for the show. So it's already going to 6.5. I'd keep taking it. I don't like the way that matches up for this Raiders team. And I already know this Colts side is going to be very public, very, very public. So try to get the best number while you can. I do see this going above the 7. And my last one, Jets. They're playing the Cowboys at home. I'm just grabbing it now, just in case they do beat, a Miami team that could be fraudulent, could be 0-4. It's really about how Fields plays against certain teams. And this Dallas team, their front, we've seen they have been struggling. And this is the exact type of matchup that you want for Justin Fields, a front that will not be able to get pressure on him because they don't have any type of athletes that can give him fits. So I like that number for a Jets team. And, the Cowboys, I think their days, like we saw it last week, they were favorites against the Bears on the road. I think it's coming to an end. Them being these little favorites on the road against these bad teams, they are just a bad team. And I'm excited for them tonight because I had bet them tonight because they did get Bland back, and I think Diggs came back for them in the secondary. See what they can do with this defense now that they have their guys back. But that's really matchup based, number based. I think this is a good number for this Jets team that opened at +2, +1.5.
The line in that game is 6.5 now. Cowboys +6.5. It had been at 7, up as high as 7.5. At 6.5, I don't think we have an opinion. 7.5, 7, we were leaning Cowboys. I didn't make any plays on this. You're on the Cowboys.
Yeah, don't lean here. I actually bet it. I bet 7 on the Cowboys. I bet the 6.5. It's not fun, but I gave the stat earlier. If you could have got the 7, that was the number you really wanted, like Chad's saying. 6.5, I'm not going to let that scare me off. I think Green Bay is a very talented team. They obviously could roll a bad team here, but historically, Dak has done very well when he's a big dog like this, especially at home. And it's an interesting bet, Chad. Like you said, this Dallas team, they might actually be one of the worst teams in football, and we're going to find out tonight. Was that just a mirage, that game against the Bears, or is that defense really that bad?
All right, final review. The games that we won today, we won the Rams -3.5, the Raiders +1.5, and we won the Lions -9.5. We lost the Chargers -5.5, and we lost the Bucks +3.5. This has been Sharper Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet, part of the Volume Podcast Network. We will be back with our next Sharper Square on Tuesday to go over the entire NFL slate. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, download some Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.